You've entered Scary Storie, a place where every tale chills your soul. Stay, if you dare. Story number 1, The First Night. The abandoned Whitlock Manor stood on the edge of Millersville, Pennsylvania, a 2-story wooden house with shattered windows, rotting beams, and a thick layer of ivy strangling its walls. For decades, people whispered about strange lights and screams echoing from within its dark halls. Nobody dared to go near it after sunset. But on a stormy October night, 4 friends decided to break that rule. Ethan, a thrill-seeking college student, his girlfriend Mia, their classmate Carlos, and adventurous vlogger Natalie drove out to the house to film a paranormal challenge for YouTube. Kabor Bandi Jinn. That phrase Natalie had come across in an old Bengali folklore book in the library. According to the legend, it referred to a powerful jinn trapped in a grave, bound by ancient rites, waiting to be freed. "This is gonna blow up on TikTok," Natalie said as they stepped out of the car, rain lashing against their jackets. Ethan laughed nervously. "Yeah, as long as we don't end up possessed or something." The front door creaked open with a push, as if it had been waiting for them. The air inside was damp, heavy, and smelled faintly of burnt incense mixed with decay. Dust danced in the flashlight beams like ash. They wandered through the house, filming every corner. The wallpaper peeled like a dead skin. Furniture sat in odd angles as if thrown during some violent moment in the past. Then they found the basement door. Carlos aimed his flashlight down the wooden staircase. "I'm not going down there first," he muttered. Ethan grinned, pretending to be brave. "I will. Come on." The basement was surprisingly colder than the rest of the house. The concrete floor was cracked, and in the center stood a rectangular slab of stone, like a tomb, with strange Arabic-like inscriptions etched on it. Mia's voice trembled. "Guys, this looks like a grave." Natalie zoomed in with her camera. "I think this is it. The Kabor Bandi, the grave prison. See these symbols? They look like seals." Ethan, curious and reckless, crouched beside the stone slab. What if something's actually under here? As if on cue, a deep thud echoed from beneath the stone. The sound was unmistakable from below. They all froze. Another thud, louder. This time it sounded like a fist pounding from beneath the floor. Mia screamed and grabbed Ethan's arm. "Let's get out!" But Ethan whispered, almost mesmerized, "It's alive!" Suddenly, all their flashlights flickered simultaneously, plunging the basement into darkness for a split second. When the lights returned, one of the seals on the stone was broken. Natalie's camera caught it all. "Oh my God! That was closed a second ago!" Carlos backed away. "This isn't funny anymore. Something's down there." Then came the whisper, low, guttural, and not in English. It slithered through the air like smoke, vibrating in their ears. "Otlik serasi." Ethan's eyes widened. What did it say? Natalie checked her phone translator frantically. "It's Arabic. It says, 'Release me.'" The temperature dropped sharply. Their breaths turned visible. And then the stone slab shifted, not by much, but enough to reveal a thin, black smoke curling from the crack. The smell of sulfur filled the air. Mia screamed, "Run!" They bolted up the stairs, but the basement door slammed shut behind them with a deafening bang. Carlos threw his weight at the door, but it wouldn't budge. Behind them, the stone slab was lifting itself slowly, and from underneath came a growling sound, not animal, not human, but something that scraped at their souls. Natalie's camera captured the last moment before they fled through a broken window. A tall, shadowy figure with glowing eyes rising behind the grave, its form swirling like black fire. They didn't stop running until they reached the car. All 4 of them were shaking, drenched in rain and terror. Mia was crying, "We should have never come here!" Ethan, pale and silent, whispered to himself, "We didn't just find a ghost. We freed something." The storm had worsened by the time they sped away from Whitlock Manor. Rain hammered the windshield so hard Ethan could barely see the road. Mia sat in the passenger seat, shaking and whispering prayers under her breath. Carlos kept glancing at the rearview mirror, convinced they were being followed. Natalie clutched her camera like a lifeline, replaying the footage she had captured. "Look!" she shouted suddenly. She froze the video at the exact moment the slab lifted. A shadowy silhouette, tall, smoke-like, with glowing white eyes, rose behind the grave. Carlos cursed. "What the hell was that?" Ethan tried to laugh it off, but his voice cracked. Probably some camera glitch. But deep down, he knew it wasn't. The pounding from under the stone, the whisper in Arabic, the sudden chill, none of that was explainable. They reached Ethan's house by midnight. His parents were away on a business trip, so they had the place to themselves. They tried to calm down with hot coffee in the living room, lights all on. Rain drummed against the windows like relentless fingers. Mia curled up on the couch. "We should delete the footage, pretend this never happened." Natalie shook her head. "No way! This is gold! Real paranormal evidence! Do you realize how viral this could go?" Ethan snapped. "Natalie, this isn't some Halloween prank! Something down there moved! Something broke out!" Suddenly, all the lights in the house flickered at once. The TV switched on by itself. Static filled the screen. Through the white noise came a low, guttural whisper, the same guttural language from the basement. Mia screamed, "Turn it off!" Ethan grabbed the remote, but the TV wouldn't respond. Then, out of the static, a face formed, elongated, featureless except for two glowing eyes. The sound morphed into English, a deep, echoing voice. "You broke the seal." The TV shut off with a loud pop. A silence, heavier than the storm, filled the room. Carla stood, trembling. No, this can't be happening. Then, the kitchen door slammed on its own. One by one, all the interior doors began banging like fists pounding from inside every room. Mia cried, clutching Ethan. "It followed us." Natalie, still recording, whispered, This is real." From the hallway came the sound of footsteps, slow, dragging, but impossibly heavy. The air turned freezing. A faint sulfur smell spread. Ethan grabbed a baseball bat and slowly peeked around the corner. Nothing. When he turned back to the group, Natalie had her camera pointed at the ceiling. "Ethan, look!" Up above them, pressed flat against the ceiling like a spider, a dark figure, limbs bent at unnatural angles, glowing eyes locked onto Ethan. The creature dropped silently onto the floor. Mia let out a blood-curdling scream. Up close, the figure was worse than any of them had imagined. It wasn't a ghost. It had formed like smoke woven into human shape, its hands ending in long, jagged claws. Its voice was layered, echoing from nowhere and everywhere. "You released me. Now I will feed." The lights burst, plunging the house into total darkness. Natalie's camera was the only light source left, casting a shaky beam across the living room. The figure moved fast, blurring, appearing behind Carlos in an instant. Carlos barely had time to turn before it gripped his shoulder. His body convulsed, his eyes rolled back, and a black mist seeped into his mouth as if he were being filled with smoke. "Carlos!" Ethan yelled, rushing forward. The figure vanished into thin air, leaving Carlos standing stiffly. He turned his head slowly toward them, his pupils now pitch black. His voice was not his own. "The grave was a prison, and you were the key." He lunged at Ethan with inhuman speed. Ethan swung the bat, knocking Carlos back, but Carlos got up as if nothing happened. Natalie and Mia ran for the front door, but it wouldn't open. The locks twisted on their own, sealing shut. Windows rattled violently. Mia sobbed, "We're trapped!" Ethan dragged an unconscious Carlos into the hallway. "Basement," he said through gritted teeth. "There's salt down there. My dad keeps it for the water softener." Natalie stared at him. "Salt? Seriously? It's worth a try." They ran downstairs as heavy footsteps thundered behind them. The air thickened, every breath like inhaling smoke. In the basement, Ethan drew a circle of salt around them, trembling hands spilling half the box. Natalie set up her camera in the corner to catch everything. For a moment, silence. Then, bang, the basement door slammed above. The voice filled the house again, echoing from the walls, ceiling, and floor. "No circle can save you. I was bound in earth, but now I roam the living." Mia squeezed Ethan's hand. "What do we do?" Ethan looked up, heart pounding. "We end what we started. Tomorrow, we go back to that house and seal it again." Natalie nodded, pale but determined. "If we survive the night." By dawn, the storm had passed, but the house reeked of sulfur, and the walls were scorched with strange black handprints. Carlos sat in the corner of the basement, tied with Ethan's extension cords. His eyes remained solid black. He hadn't spoken since the possession, only stared at them with a fixed, unnatural grin. Ethan paced nervously. "We can't keep him like this forever." Mia, exhausted and pale, whispered, "He's not Carlos anymore." Natalie, clutching her camera, interrupted. "The footage! Look at this!" On her laptop, she played back the video from last night. The moment the creature grabbed Carlos, there was a flash of symbols on the screen, Arabic script swirling around him, almost like seals breaking. Frame by frame, they could see the Jinn's smoky form pour into his body. "It used him as a vessel," Natalie said, "which means if we reseal the grave, maybe we could force it out." Ethan grabbed his car keys. "Then we're going back." Mia hesitated. "At night?" Natalie shook her head. "No, now! Daylight! Maybe it's weaker." They loaded the car with flashlights, bags of salt, rope,